We know education is changing, and we know that this year has been a challenging year for many of us. We've asked you to do many things that maybe have made you uncomfortable, but I would tell you that it's not without a good reason. It's not without some research and logic behind to what we're doing. The people that are about to follow with their conversations and their comments, I think will help explain the great things that are taking place when we as a school district and as educators raise the bar for our students and raise the bar for ourselves. We appreciate everything that you do, and we look forward to the outstanding things that will take place in the months and days and years to come. Thank you.
Okay, this year I really got out of my own way and decided to dig a little bit deeper into my math instruction. And so I've really incorporated a lot of the cognitively guided instruction strategies for kiddos to develop their own theories on how to solve math problems. We do number talks every day, multiple times a day, and it's just a way for those kids to take ownership and leadership in their learning. And I've seen a lot of growth with them from all types of learners, and everybody's successful in most areas. And so it's just been fun to kind of see those light bulbs go off, and for me to even change my mindset on math and teaching math as well as learning new strategies for my own kids. So it's been fun.
My name is Jen Kirsten. I teach first grade at Butler Elementary. This is my first year teaching, and I feel so lucky to work in a district that has mentors available for first year teachers. I've been lucky enough to go to coaches for support, advice, and lesson ideas. Mrs. Johnson has worked really close with me in my classroom. My students really enjoy having her come visit. I've had coaches support me with behavior intervention ideas. They've modeled for me how to do a strategy. They've also covered my classes so I can go observe other teachers in the district, which has been huge for me this year. I feel very lucky to work in an area that has this support available.
One thing I did was to utilize a KWL 2.0 that I learned from a reading nonfiction conference. The idea behind the KWL 2.0 was students' prior knowledge was activated in what they know, and what you want to know had to be linked to what they already knew, which was kind of an interesting twist on the KWL. I used that kind of a conversation with an ancient civ class where we were reading about the Greeks, the ancient Spartans. They generated a lot of questions, things that they wanted to know about the ancient Spartans. We read the article and we were able to answer quite a few of those. I like that as a strategy because it's a way to deal with a text, it's a way to deal with nonfiction that I think has a more powerful impact than lecturing about it does, or reading from a simple textbook.
One thing Ms. Noble and I did this year to encourage better student discussion was a fishbowl. And the first time we did it, we had prompts for the students to respond to, and they had to find evidence from the text to support their responses to the prompts that we provided. It wasn't great. It required a lot of outside prompting from Ms. Noble and myself to encourage students to keep talking, even if they felt like they were out of things to say. And we also did a little bit more encouraging for students to get in the fishbowl than we wanted to do originally. However, we did it again about a week later, and we had students generate their own questions. And even though less students participated because we prompted them less, the discussion was generally much better, and they were better able to build on each other's responses than they were the first time. There's definitely still things that they can work on and we can work on to encourage that, but we are planning on doing one more, and hopefully by then it will even just keep progressing and getting better.
Hi, I'm Emily Powell. I'm a first year teacher at Butler Elementary. This is my first year teaching in the district and also a first year teacher in general. I've had the amazing privilege to work with a majority of the coaches this year. To start off, I've had, as a first year teacher, support once a week, and that's to help my students and plan. That's for me to just reflect as a teacher in general as my first year, which has been truly, truly amazing. Another thing that's been super beneficial this year has been a couple coaches behind the scenes came up with a thematic unit for my class and myself. This thematic unit was social studies integrated with writing and reading. They came up with a plan for a timeline, and I read historical fiction books and other things like that that really truly benefited my students. They got to make text-to-self connections, they got to make text-to-text connections and other things like that. I mean, it truly was the best support I could have hoped for my first year. And so as a first year teacher, this makes me want to stay in the district, and I'm so thankful for them.
Implementing number talk and CGI instruction into my daily routine with teaching math has really given my kids a better understanding of numbers, and I'm amazed at all the different ways they're able to solve problems. This is the way we should be teaching math.
Some of the ways that I've seen kids benefit from teachers stepping outside of their box and being a little uncomfortable are utilizing the coaches and some of the activities that they use. I actually had a teacher tell me, I can't just use lecture anymore. I have to meet the kids, at where they're at in this day and age. And I feel like when they utilize some of the lessons and the coaches and some new strategies and new activities, like the Pandora's boxes and the clickers and some of those activities, I've seen the kids are more engaged. They're excited about their lessons. They're intrigued by what's in the boxes and things like that. So I guess I would say that the teachers that are utilizing the coaches and some new activities, I know it's uncomfortable for them to ask for help. It's sometimes uncomfortable for them to have someone in their classroom, but I really think it's benefiting the kids seeing new technologies and new activities in the class.
One of my goals this year was to incorporate a deeper discussion with my first grade students, and I wanted them to be able to defend their thinking and to prove their thinking. And one of the ways I wanted to do that was to implement some Kagan structures. And it was really difficult having 6 groups of 4 students and being able to get to all of them at the same time because they all needed me at the same time. So I invited about 5 of the elementary coaches into my room. We each took a group and we each facilitated our own group and really helped them learn how to defend their thinking and ask questions while learning the routines of the Kagan structure.
Okay. This year I tried a strategy that I call Monday morning quarterback. And what I do is every Monday the kids in my journalism class come in and they sit down with a partner after we randomly select them. And each person says one thing they did this weekend without any more detail. Then what they have to do is they have to generate at least 5 questions that they want to know more about from what that person did that weekend. And what it's done is it's allowed my kids to be able to generate better questions on the fly when they have to go out and do their interviews. So I think it's helped them be able to come up with better interviews, which then leads to better stories.
Earlier this year, we all read Willing to be Disturbed, the article, and it resonated with me because it reminded me of, or it made me think of when true change is going to happen, that tension, that little bit of conflict that happens when people start questioning what they do, what's right, what should they do, and then they're trying to come to terms with what other people are thinking, and that tension, that kind of budding that can create a situation where great change can happen. And I've seen that happen this year. with many of our teachers. We have people trying things that, they've talked about, they've maybe read about in other articles, but might not have thought they would ever do. We have flipped classrooms, we have standards-based reporting and grading, and we have people truly looking at what it is a student needs to know, and then how do the teachers know if they know it, and then providing learning opportunities. And I really think with many people, the focus has changed from, students need to get these grades or these credits to graduate, to what is it that a student really needs to learn. And that learning, I think, is the most important piece. And so we've had people be disturbed about, should a student know how to behave, or do we teach them how to behave if they aren't behaving? Do we know if a student knows how to do math? Are they misbehaving because they might not know how to do this math? And so they've challenged each other, they've challenged themselves, they've been willing to be disturbed, and it's been an awesome year in that way for me.
Literature classes over the past few years, I've been working toward increasing student voice and getting them to do a lot more of the talking and me a lot less of the talking. And I've tried a lot of different strategies for group discussions and kept running across some of the same problems every time. Equity of voice, not having certain students dominate and others not talk at all. Issues of teaching them to actually respond to each other and build on what other people are saying. So I've been looking for different strategies, and Allison Emery came to me about one that she had seen a video of, and so we got together and did a pinwheel discussion in my science fiction literature class. The kids had read Fahrenheit 451, and what this discussion asked them to do was to take on roles of characters in the book and respond about the literature through that character's perspective and eyes. And it was a challenge for a lot of them because they're used to sharing their own opinions. They're not maybe so good at thinking about how other people would view things or respond to things, but I think that was one of the most important things about the activity. They said in their reflection afterwards that it pushed them to try things they hadn't tried before, and they felt that it helped them gain a deeper understanding of the book and the characters. So also something I would definitely do again.
At the beginning of the year, we were given an article called Willing to be Disturbed, which talked about teachers stepping outside of their comfort zone. And how that applied to me this year is first agreeing to be taped. This seems extremely weird. But secondly, and probably more importantly, was the decision to enlist the help of our academic coaches. I think I was worried before I decided to do this that it would amount to another observation or that I wouldn't measure up to their expectations. But the process didn't end up being anything like that. In fact, I can say without a doubt, they helped me create two of the better pieces of teaching that I've been involved with. And I think their impact on me was this: they helped create or provide a different perspective that helped me complete the vision of what I've been looking for. They allowed me to take the project that I think had varied levels of success and really take it to a different level. More importantly, I think I saw more impact on the students though. I saw engagement was much higher. Kids were on task at greater lengths. The end product was significantly better than anything that I had done. We were using 21st century learning skills, and kids were engaging the material at a much deeper level than I had been able to create up to this point. So overall, this was a very quality experience, and I would definitely do it again.
So one of the projects that I am in the process of doing with 5th grade band this year is that we have been preparing music for our performance. The students are going to take that music, record a certain section of it, a melody that they like from that, and then import it into an application called Soundtrap. And with Soundtrap, they can import other loops. They could record something else to go with it. They're going to be working with a partner, so students could use 2 different themes and get them to fit together. They can record a drum beat. They can do existing stuff or new stuff they are creating. What I'm looking forward to, we're just in the planning stages on this, but what I'm looking forward to is the students collaborating with this and really getting into that creative element of music. So much of what we have done in music education is recreating music traditionally. We take off the paper and we get it to be exactly what the composer did. And this is hopefully getting kids into more of that composer role where they are being creative with the music, taking something familiar, still meeting our goals and our expectations of the performing ensemble, and taking it to the next level. Using this kind of technology in class has helped me a lot with becoming more paperless. Students have created recordings of themselves for our playing assessments, so then I can go home and it's all in Google Classroom and I can get it graded really quick and give them constructive feedback, written feedback.
This year, I tried out some of the new Kagan strategies with my kids. It was really difficult to get them grouped just right, but we just keep working at it and I make changes as needed. One of the ones that I tried this year was the Rally Coach, and we used that mainly for math, but the kids really enjoyed being able to work with each other and collaborate and learn from each other. So that was one of the ways this year I stepped out of my comfort zone.
I feel the Teacher Leadership Grant has done so many wonderful things for Duncan Elementary School this year. I feel that many of our teachers have been enlightened. Professionally, they have had some fantastic instructional coaches coming in and providing them assistance, advice, support, whatever they've needed, and many of our teachers, most of our teachers as a matter of fact, have taken advantage of that, and I think built some very strong collegial relationships, and that's always positive when people can work together to help students achieve great things. It's very wonderful to see. And I hope that in the future we are going to be able to get everybody on board and get partnerships formed between all teachers and instructional coaches to some degree. And I know that the students will be the great beneficiaries of this effort.